This is where the fun begins.
Someone asked me to give the best reason why someone should read the expanded universe. After giving it a lot of thought, here's what I have to say. The expanded universe respects the reader. In the expanded universe, Luke Skywalker's optimism continues where it left off in Return of the Jedi. He's fulfilled hope to the galaxy just like Obi-Wan said he would, not like the Disney movies where he gave up on the Jedi or even the whole galaxy for that matter. The character you see in those movies is not Luke. Luke isn't a quitter. He's not a pessimist. He's a leader. He's inspirational. And he's always there for his friends in times of need. Another character is Han Solo. He's introduced to us in A New Hope as a loner, a man who cares only for himself and nobody else. But by the end of Return of the Jedi, that all turns around when he finally finds friends he can trust and a true love to spend the rest of his life with. And that's exactly what he does in the expanded universe. Han is a devoted husband and father to Leia and their kids. He loves his family above all else. In the new movies, Han turns out to be a selfish deadbeat dad who ran out on his family when things get tough. It's a complete 180 from the character that we saw from Return of the Jedi. Now, another thing the EU does is it rewards its readers. Attention to detail when it comes to continuity has never been done at such a level as when it was performed by the expanded universe. Avid readers will constantly be rewarded for their diligence as comics, novels, video games, and even children's books share connections throughout the entire series, making it almost a flawless, continuous story. And though it has its minor flaws, it's still the best overall story and continuity out there, period. That's what the EU does. It respects and rewards its readers. And that's the best reason you should give it a try. Long live the expanded universe.
Are you sure? So be it.
Well, hello, everyone. Oh, I don't even have my mic plugged in. Jeez, I didn't even realize that. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning CAF chat. I am so excited to be here with you guys. It's been a while. I was off on training last week and traveling and settling in. And so I'm happy to be back here with you. It looks like my mic's plugged in. All right. So how was your guys' week last week? I am like muted here. I was just chatting away with you guys and I am muted. Hello, hello. This is what happens when I am, returning back, get everything all set back up to its usual, set up here for you guys for CAF chat. So I am happy to be back. And yeah, so today's show, we have something to talk about firsthand about Jake Lloyd. And we'll get into our Lucas fact and into the rule of two. Yes, the rule of two. So you guys, if you have the Book of Sith, grab it. If you have any other type of books that pertain to the Rule of Two, even the Bane trilogy, grab it. And hopefully you guys have your drinks, your CAF or whatever. And for those who are tuning in, please hit the like button and let me know you're here by leaving a comment below. And everybody else, you hit the like button as well. I was confused. Everything was so quiet all of a sudden. Yeah. Whoops, wrong one. I plugged it in my mic and it muted me. So I was yapping away, plugged in the mic, and it went dead. Because that's how that works, right? So there we go. But I'm here. I am here. Holy heck. And I'm excited to be back. Rule of Two here. We will get into the Rule of Two, and then within the chapters of Rule of Two in this book, there is the lightsaber information and all this other stuff. We will all put that together in more or less. Let me see here. I'm looking at it right now. I want to word it right, but we'll get into the next week. Will be like the lightsaber construction, variants. Lightsaber combat. So basically using a saber staff. We'll talk all about that and talk about Sith armor and dark side combat. So I think that one will be more of the weapons kind of deal too, and how they use their dark side to fight and stuff. So yeah. But first of all, since I got all turned around from plugging the mic in and it muted me and I'm chatting away with you guys, and I thought that was a pretty good, what I was saying, I thought it was pretty good. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling it. And then all of a sudden I look down and I'm like, shit, I'm muted. So let's get into the chat and see who's all here. So Soul Assassin, thank you, Vato, hey, for coming in and being the mod. It's always great to have you here, and then also chatting with you about Star Wars in Twitter or on Twitter. And follow me there, OG Star Wars. And let's see here. So thank you so much. And then Star Wars Scran. So I've been finishing, actually, I have been finishing book 2 of the New Jedi Order for my reread, Dark Tide Onslaught. So that's the book 1 of the little duology within the series. And this has been phenomenal. You don't forget. You still have the feeling, you still have the essence, and all that of what happened in this whole series with the Vong, this new invader, all of this stuff, and the dire needs to, defeat these guys are become extinct. So something very different, but very well planned out for the series. And it's been a joy rereading, the first 2, and I can't wait to go through the rest of them. Vector Prime's video will be coming out here soon. Kind of my training kind of put it on the back burner a little bit. But what I want to do is I want to maybe highlight a point in almost each chapter, because I know everything has repeated time and time again with what happened in Vector Prime, all those main points. And so I want to be a little different. Mind you, we all know what Vector Prime is about. We can, if you read it or if you heard about it, you know what happens in there. So I want to get into some other nooks and crannies of the events that happened in there that are also very important. So I'm I am going through and finding those points per chapter, maybe not all chapters, and that will be what the discussion will be about. So something a little different than the normal. And I think that it'd be more refreshing, I guess you could say, to listen and say, oh yeah, I remember that happened. I remember that point or whatever. So that's what I'm trying to do. And the reason why I said this, I put Star Wars Friends chat up here, is because pretty soon me, Justin, our Star Wars Marvel purist, Scran, and Darth Paz will be getting together to discuss Vector Prime. So stay tuned for that. That was long-winded, right? Have a great morning, Laura. Thank you. And I know it's probably evening time or nighttime for you over there. I think you guys are about 7 hours ahead of me or something like that. Or the day, evening, whatever. So I get so confused sometimes in different parts of the world. And then, how are you doing? Happy to have you here. And then, good afternoon, all. You too. And everybody's coming in. I'm just like highlighting you guys because I want to get into an important article here pretty soon because this is not a planned session of Cat Chat. So I wanted to get into it, but I want to just at least highlight all you guys, just acknowledge you guys that way. Star Wars Gent, hello, my peeps. Hello to you. And archaeologists just dug up an exact match of the cup used in the Holy Grail in the exact place where The Last Crusade was filmed. Nice pellet cleanser. Let's see here. Leaving the artifacts behind, George and Spielberg. Love that Dark Empire clip. Yes, that's pretty cool, isn't it? And I have to go back and get credits where credits due. I need to find who the creator of that is. I forget, but it's amazing. That was well put together. Yeah, I was confused too. I was like, wait a minute, I am talking to myself. All right, Star Wars Grand. I have also annotated by chapter. Okay, yeah. So that's I get it. And of course, nerds. We all are, and you are one of the biggest ones I know. And thank you so much. And greetings, exalted ones. How are you doing? And fangirls over 40. How are you doing? I can't wait till our podcast comes out. Once that does, I will share and let you guys know. So you guys can go listen and support fangirls over 40. That was a great conversation. We could have gone longer. We could have said a lot more. I mean, I know we probably will have a part 2, which I'm excited about if we do. Sending you our podcast tomorrow. Speaking of, thank you. Okay. All right. So with that being said, a little bit, I'm switching gears a little bit here. We're going to talk about this article here, and then we'll get into Lucas Facts and start carrying on with the normal stream here. The order. So let's see here. Share screen. And here we go. Now, I wanted to share this about Jake Lloyd. And I did see something last night that Tim shared a little screenshot of this. But I wanted to share this because we will see once this gets out there, you're going to have all these Disney shills, come out and saying, oh, well, he was forced into this and this and this because of the toxic Star Wars fans back when the PT was out. So they'll still keep this rhetoric going. That's why I want to share this. Last time his mom spoke out, she discussed how he was in recovery for schizophrenia and how schizophrenia wasn't because of what people are saying that Star Wars fan bullied him as a young boy. It was clearly something that's genetic, and they needed to take care of him. And so the family, he and his family did the right thing, to take care of himself. So let's get into this article here and then we'll get into our regular program. So Jake Lloyd, so this is TMZ. This is one of the tabloid places and stuff like that. Now, mind you, just imagine getting out of recovery and already the media is like on your ass. That was kind of disheartening for me. I'm like, oof, the media is on his ass. This is going to create some controversy in itself. So basically, former Star Wars child star Jake Lloyd steps out in LA, first time in over a year. So there he is right here. He's been at conventions and stuff, and he's always been great with fans and stuff like that. The fans always been great with him. So Jake Lloyd, the former child star who played Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars prequel trilogy, has emerged from the first time in over a year after previously seeking treatment for schizophrenia at a mental health facility. The retired actor appeared to be doing well as during a recent outing in Los Angeles, where he swung by his local gym, hit his vape a few times, and recycled a number of protein shake boxes. Jake looked to be keeping a low profile, which is great. The media, of course, they are like piranhas, I guess you could say. They're out there to get you if you're an actor and you just want to go ahead and just be low key, in a sense, keeping his head down while sporting a freshly trimmed beard. This is the first real update we've got regarding Jake in 7 months. His mother, Lisa Lloyd, and this is what I talked about, previously confirmed in March that her son was in the midst of completing a mental health stay following a scary incident, incident a year prior. So that's when he was having this episode and was basically stopped on the highway and stuff like that. But let's get into this. As Lisa detailed in Scripps News, and that's where I got my news for Jake, when she talked about him and how fans weren't the cause of everything that he's experiencing, and that she kept him guarded from any type of backlash if there was any, and what have you. So who appeared in the 1990 film, episode 1, The Phantom Menace, who was hospitalized in 2023 after he turned their car off while driving in the middle of the road. Yeah, so that's basically what I just talked about. Police intervened in the situation, but Lisa said Jake struggled to communicate with the officers, comparing it to word salad at the time. Yeah, so he wasn't in a good place. So she made that very clear. She made it very clear, what the schizophrenia is about. Because people like these down Disney Star Wars fan that wants to compare what happened with the fans not liking certain characters in the PT and stuff like that to them not caring what Disney is doing in Star Wars today. So they're trying to say, oh well, they were this bad back then, they're still the same today. No, there's significant differences. And Lisa Lloyd basically debunked some of their claims against Star Wars fans that these people were making. So, and some of them still do this because they're very fucking ignorant. But hey, when you don't want to listen and grow and stuff like that, you're going to stay in a case of ignorance and in that path of ignorance, right? Yeah, Lisa had a positive update about Jake this spring when she said he was doing much better in treatment. Noting her son was acting more like his old self. And that's good. I'm going to see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see here. I had the poster of him with Vader's shadow. That's a pretty cool. That's one of the greater posters. I like that one too. Very badass. I loved, even though it was simplistic, because me sometimes I'm like, yes, simplistic covers and posters, if done right, are phenomenal. But when you look at the covers, some of the simplistic covers for like the X-Wing series that they're putting out, those are shitty. Okay, so Batu says you were incredible, Jake. Don't mind those jealous. Oh yeah, you were incredible. Yeah, good to hear that Jake Lloyd is doing fine. Shame on media for bullying him. Correct. That's media basically. But like I said, his mom kept him off of like what back then was social media. Their social media was not predominant at all back in that time. There was just forums and stuff like that, just very, very small compared to now. She'll just bring him up as another weapon to use against toxic fans, not knowing that media did him horrible back in 1999 to 2002. Clearly there weren't Star Wars fans when it mattered. Yeah. Okay, let me get back to that. And I say, I had the Taco Bell poster. I gotta find them. The Taco Bell. Oh man, that was great back in the day when you can get glasses from McDonald's and posters and other things from these fast foods. But I don't do fast foods anymore. So let's finish this up here. Lisa indicated that Jake had several months left in his treatment, however, which clearly came to an end recently, given his latest outing. Words of Jake's schizophrenia diagnosis first surfaced in 2015 after several erratic incidents resulted in the actor spending time in both jail and the hospital. Looks like Jake is ready for a fresh start. Yes, and so with that being said, I hope that this media group, our media, just leaves him the fuck alone. Jeez, I come in hot, and that these these Disney Star Wars shills don't use this as a weapon, I guess, and bait people to have this argument and, to call people toxic, because this article has nothing to do with anything other than he is doing a lot better. And his mom debunked the fact that schizophrenia did not come from any type of harassment and stuff like that. So with that being said, I thought I'd share this because I think it's very important to get this out there. He, at the time when he was with Lucasfilm for the episode 1, I never had a problem with him. I understood he was a kid. I understand kids are going to respond differently than adults and teenagers. So that never was a deal for me on how he acted or anything like that. I think he was on par with his age for the role. And I think people expect too much. I don't know how people are expecting kids to act adults when they're acting when they're supposed to be kids, right? And I think he did a phenomenal job. And he, and episode 1, it's good, it's great. It opened up the whole Star Wars universe on how Anakin became who he was, like in his early years. And I know there's people saying, well, Lucas should have brought in an older, or should have made Anakin older at this stage. But I think that showing that Anakin being 9, being brought into the Jedi Order still fits predominantly, because you have years of growth for him to acclimate inside the order and train inside the order and see some conflict that he's still holding on to and stuff like that. But that's just my take. So what do you guys think about this? I'm happy for Jake Lloyd. I think that this is great. I think media needs to leave him alone. And I think these Disney shills need to leave him alone as well, not weaponize him. Because when they do that, they are still contributing to and being who they're accusing us of being, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So I thought I'd share this. And again, I seen Tim last night shared just a screenshot of TMZ with the article name on there. So I was like, I'm going to share this on with you guys on CAF chat, and we can go over this. So let me see here what you guys are saying. I wonder what would happen if Hayden Christensen brought Jake Lloyd on stage at Star Wars Celebration. Who knows? Probably nothing. I would think nothing other than probably they would cheer him on. And the thing is, there's falsity behind what people are saying today about even Hayden and Ewan, saying that they were never liked back then in the PT era time when PT was being created and stuff like that, when in fact they were well loved. They were well received. And that's another falsehood that's been going on as well. I wonder what would happen if Hayden, I agree with that. And let's see here. Well said, OG. Thank you. They had become the very thing they swore to destroy, right? I remember my sister used to watch TMZ a lot back in the day. Yeah, TMZ is one of those tabloid things, and they were very amusing and stuff sometimes, but now these days you don't know what's true, what's false, and all this other stuff, because how people blindly follow media. I think it's worse today because social media is so predominant and everybody's on their electronics all the damn time, that they can't separate that from their reality. It's like it's all blended together. And I think that's heartbreaking in a sense, because they can't get off their devices and do stuff, have this expansive imagination. They have to let the devices think for them. And I think that the creative intelligence, like just in the human brain these days, is low. I'm sorry to say, but I don't think that there isn't a significant amount of human intelligence when it comes to creativity these days, because they're allowing social media to do all that for them. In a sense, it's like they're blindly kind of, I'm not trying to say dead brain, but basically they're blindly following and not allowing their brain to process and think and go beyond just what they see on the screen. And it's alarming to me, really. If you guys know what I'm saying, I just can't put the words to it. Okay, let's see here. I still have the Pepsi can from 1999 with Jake Lloyd on it. Oh, wow. That's crazy. That is crazy. It's probably really extra rich syrupy in there, huh? I mean, you're probably not. Is it empty? Or I'm assuming it's not open, but if it's empty, then that's cool too. Ewan called detractors racist. Yeah. I loved Ewan pre-Star Wars. I was excited when he got the role. Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, though. That is pretty cool. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, Jake Lloyd, we're happy that you are doing well. Hopefully, media and everything leaves you alone so that you continue to heal and integrate back into the outside world from recovery. Diddley Squat says part of the outrage also came because people wanted to see Anakin losing his mind and slaughter everyone in episode 1 instead of an innocent boy who dreamed of flying among the stars. Yeah, they just wanted everything to be like brutal and stuff like that. And they just wanted a slaughter. They seen Vader. Vader's like the biggest, like one of the most, like, I wouldn't say one, is the most captivating villain in movie history. So they because of that, they wanted to see him just start going batshit crazy, and stuff like that. But yeah. So with that being said, there we go. Stop the screen here. And let's see here. Sorry, I got a yawn. Oh, I need more coffee in the system here. Let's get into our Lucas facts. And I forget that I have a little clip for that. This is like the second time I've used this.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's great. That's going to be great. It's great. That's going to be great. I'm gonna make the clip longer, but right now that's it for now. So Lucas fact. So Lucas fact is basically anything that Lucas was involved in within his company and stuff like that would happen pertaining to him and stuff. So that will even include, as we go along with these Lucas facts, it'll even pertain to the EU. It would pertain to like even TC or CW03 and stuff like that, and even TCW. Yes, I'm gonna throw some stuff in there for that too, because you got to share everything, right? So Lucas fact: George Lucas was involved with the New Jedi Order from its beginning and well into its series. So because I just got done reading Vector Prime, it's still fresh in my mind, and I am basically on chapter 19 of Onslaught. So there you go. He approved the most important plots and character arcs for Vector Prime. He did not allow authors to kill off Luke Skywalker, accepted Chewbacca's death instead. So this is like all brief. Like there's a lot more to this. I just made it very condensed, but this is his involvement just with the novel. There's more involvement from when they were just planning out the New Jedi Order series, and within the development of the New Jedi Order series as the books were coming out. So there was a lot of involvement. In general, no book is published if he feels it doesn't fit within the Star Wars universe and within what he wants to tell, and it doesn't fit and complement the movies as well. The movies are basically the foundation, aka the immovable object. I can't even get that word out. What the hell? Immovable object. There we go. 5th time the charm. And then everything else has to expand around it. And if Lucas is like deciding he doesn't want that storyline no more or whatever, then usually it's no longer there. But basically we know that everything pre-Disney, before the buyout, was still intact together as one continuity in the canon. So just a little bit short here for the Lucas facts. New Jedi Order, he was involved, and yes, they wanted to kill off Luke Skywalker, and he's like, nope, you can't do that. Nope, you can't. So if this was not canon, that wouldn't have mattered, right? It wouldn't have mattered what George would have said, or suggested. but it is because it all influences, and it's all one continuity. Nothing left Lucasfilm without Lucas' approval. The man had limits in his galaxy. Yeah, he had rules, all of that. He had rules. Yeah, so this is the Lucas facts, short and sweet here. I thought I'm going to do it. And a lot of you guys know this already, but why not share it anyway, since I am, in the new, rereading within the EU New Jedi Order. But when he heard they killed off Luke, he rolled his eyes and said, "Big mistake." Oh God. You could tell, like, every interview that he had since then, since the buyout, when he talks about that, he's like, "That's not my Star Wars," basically. And so you could tell there's disappointment, but there was disappointment from the start when he realized that they weren't going to use the treatment that he gave them. And yeah, so there's like that history. It's like I got to sit down and map that all out to share all, like, what he said along the way. That would be great to put up as a compilation. Let's see here. So that's Lucas fact here. Have you guys read New Jedi Order? I know Scron, I think he might be in bed or something like that. Or he might be listening right now still. But he has began. And he has done just a recent video about Lucas, like the involvement, the creation of Vector Prime. So go ahead and check out that video on his channel. It's very good. I will share some things when I do my reread review of this book. But like I said, I want to go through the chapters and plan out, like, what I want to talk about. It's not going to be chapter, like chapter by chapter thing. But just try to pull out some stuff that maybe that's not talked about as much. Hi, sci-fi Sith Dan. How are you doing? And yeah, so here we go. So here is this. So with everybody here, hello, welcome. Please hit the like button. Share that we are live. And if you haven't became a subscriber or member, I welcome you to do so. Masquerade says, I have yet to read it, and unfortunately for me, I got the Jedi Order trilogy with the you-know-what label. Yeah. And like I said, if that's the last resort and that's how you can find it, I mean, I try not to encourage it. I still have some books with the Legends label when I was replacing, in my mind and myself, I was like, I'm going to show them what Star Wars I want by just only purchasing Legends label. But then I've decided I don't want to give them my money even for that. So, but that's okay. Just read it. Let me know how you like it. I'd love to hear back from you on that. I would love to. I will be posting more on New Jedi Order stuff here on Twitter and here on YouTube and stuff. So I want to keep the hype up, because when I first started talking about reading it and stuff, all of a sudden it seemed like everybody started talking about New Jedi Order Vector Prime. So I want to keep that hype up. So listen, look out for more information about that. Let's see here. And Jordan, Star Wars. Yes, I've read the series and been checking out classic expanded universe comics. There you go. Build that collection. Even the novels that you really didn't care for, put them on your shelves as collector's items. And Mr. Dystopian, good morning to you. And Legends, such a slap in the face. Yes, I agree. There we go. So there's that right there. So after we're done here, feel free to go check out that video. No, but I have listened to Star Wars scholars like Evan Nova 95. Okay, Evan, and among others that talk about them in his video. Okay, cool. Right on. Thanks for the encouragement, OG. You're welcome. Yes, the Yuuzhan Vong Star Wars book series. Yes, the villains that came in and really tested the Jedi, the New Republic, everybody in the galaxy, these invaders. Yeah. Let's see here. And Theory bought this whole book, this whole collection through Disney's website, all legend labels, and he said he said 7 months ago that he had lore videos coming from them. Hilarious. Yeah. I had tagged him on Twitter as I was beginning to read Vector Prime. inviting him to read along with me and discuss with me the novel. Have yet to have him respond, but now whenever someone asks him about this very thing, he basically you put him on the spot, and he basically gets intimidated, I guess you could say. Vector Prime audiobook. There you go. The audio too. You can listen to it as well as read. So if you get busy like me, and you're running around and stuff like that, and this is unabridged, of course, I would listen to it so that you can have that experience too. So, and I have 2 Star Wars Expanded Universe books that doesn't have the Legends logo on it. Cool. You can find them, but some are going to be pricey, some are not. So again, here is Lucas Facts on Vector Prime and his involvement with that. And let's go ahead, you guys, refresh your drinks. We are going to get into our lore talk now. Our lore talk. So if you have the Book of Sith, go ahead and grab that. Refresh your wrong thing. I thought the chat went blank, but it was a private chat. I was like, what the hell? What's going on here? And get yourself situated. I'm going to pull up the slide here because I am a nerd and I make slides and stuff like that, visuals, and let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. I like the very powerful Luke Skywalker in the book series, given over 30 years of constant training and combat experience and developing his powers and skills, he would be very powerful. Yeah, but he still doubted, and he still had to be rescued. He still needed help. And that was the beautiful thing about that, right? So we have like anti-EU people, whether they're still Lucasfilm era people or Disney or somewhere in between, saying, oh, he was OP and blah, blah. No, because if he was overpowered or OP, as they say, he wouldn't have failure. He wouldn't need help. He'd be more or less a Gary Stu, right? And so this is where I come at them with these facts about him, because he needed help. He needed rescue. He almost died in the New Jedi Order. No, they couldn't kill him off, but he almost died. And how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. My Plagueis copy is Legends reprint, unfortunately, but I'm hunting for the elusive hardcover for that one. Oh yeah, that one's a pretty penny. I found the Disney reprint at a swap for 50 cents. Oh wow. Only 50 cents for the Disney reprint. That's sad. Luke was meant to reach the potential of Anakin, as per George is correct. Yeah. He was. Yeah, that's what I remember George saying that many times before, that Luke is what Anakin should have been. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. All right. So, and then Jim the Despot's here. Sup, everyone. Can't comment a lot today because I'm driving a tractor. That's okay. Just hang out, drive, and all that. And this is, I love Knights of Undercover. I love the Heirs of the Empire trilogy. Yeah, that's a fan favorite. Thanks for okay, there you go. I'm just like reading off the side. Okay, watch out, kitty. One of my cats trying to get all cute and cozy with me, but it's not Toby. All right, so the power, let me see here. Wrong one here. I'm not on the right page, so let me get to. All right, so last, 2 weeks ago, we ended on the title of Darth. And now we're continuing. So this is the rule of 2 in the Book of Sith. And we're getting into the striking of the shadows. Again, anything that's not covered here that you want to talk rule of 2 or something that is important that's brought up here, discuss it in the chat. If I catch it, cool. If I don't, then I'm sorry. But keep this conversation going. Rule of 2. I love Luke, hate what Disney did to him. I agree. Yes. All right. Striking in the shadows. And this is what I like to read the annotations from these guys here. So this is Sidious. I have struck from the shadows while remaining in plain view. It is a superior disguise. And so basically that's what he did. That basically is how he got control of the galaxy. And that was brilliant. Honestly, that was brilliant. So striking from the shadows. The Sith of old brazenly and publicly announced their superiority. In this, they were correct. They were correct. They were mistaken though if they thought no legion of enemies would rise up against them. So this is going to go all the way into the Revenge of the Sith part of this little section here. So, hello, Star Wars Marvel purist. Sleeping in. Excuse me. We all need that sometimes. Excuse me. Oh. I was talking about you earlier, but it's all good. I'm good. All right, so grab your Book of Sith again. Grab a nice, refreshing drink or a cup of CAF. Star Wars Marvel Purist. Justin, get yourself a nice, strong cup of coffee or CAF. My tribe, we say Wakalabi, or Pejuta Sapa, or Peji Sapa. So there we go. But CAF is the Star Wars, version of that. So I always do. Thank you so much. All right, so let's move on. Let's keep going. The Sith has always been smeared as wicked, evil beings, no different from the cacodemons of children's tales who lurk in the dark places with dripping fangs. Because submission to such horror is unthinkable, many believe they must fight or face extermination. The Jedi are shameless in spreading this alarmist propaganda. Under the rule of two, the Sith will operate in secrecy, feeding in the beliefs that the Sith are a thing of the past. And this is something that Disney got so wrong with their Acolyte and stuff like that, and how people are thinking today about the Sith and the focus that George was creating. They were hiding in plain sight as quote unquote extinct. So the Jedi thought they were extinct, and so did the galaxy. Brilliant stuff there. Brilliant. Many believe they must fight. Oh, wait, wrong one. Feeding the belief that the Sith are thing in the past, forgotten in their graves on Rusan. We must not make our presence known. Oh, I got sneeze. Ooh, sheesh. Oh. Don't you hate it when you have to sneeze and it doesn't, so it tickles all the way up the nose? Oh, and it makes it itch a little bit. Oh, jeez. All right. And then see, the dark side of the Force is finally concentrated. It gives the two beings ultimate unlimited power, but the Sith cannot afford the loss of either of you. Do not make yourselves targets. Even a Sith Lord can be filled by 1,000 by 1,000 enemies. So let's see here. I'm proud to announce that Alara makes her own content and doesn't use ghostwriters to make her lore videos or streams. An amazing concept. Yes, exactly. The more you're authentic and genuine about what you know and do the work yourself, the more it's worthwhile, and you don't look like a fake. Take notes, theory. All right. If there exists a single being who believes in the continued existence of the Sith, kill him. If a group learns the secret, you must resort to subterfuge and misdirection. At one point, the Jedi believed they had evidence of my own survival after Rusan. My apprentice and I concocted a ruse in which she drove her brother insane and made him appear to be terrible Sith Lord. This satisfied the Jedi need to assign blame, and they moved on. And let's see here. And then Luke Skywalker has an annotation here, and I'm going to take a look at it. So I'm still on the striking from the shadows at the end of it. So reading this tendency to hide worries me. there may be threats out there that we have not encountered yet. And he learned about that later on after his nephew turned Sith, and the Lost Tribe of the Sith, came about, and then slowly sharing the one Sith. So we started getting all those Darth Crates and his order, the Lost Tribe of the Sith, who they were stranded on their planet, on the planet there, and all that. All right. And then Quinlan Voss has an annotation here. A Jedi learned about the Rule of Two more than a century ago from the cultist Kidabajin. And some of them didn't believe it. Now that Obi-Wan is fighting on Naboo has confirmed the truth, the Jedi are ready to face whatever the Sith have been cooking up. So there you go. So people are like, oh, when did they learn about the Rule of Two? Blah, blah, blah. Because that's what these Disney shows are trying to do, to make it look like George didn't know and his company didn't know what they were doing and creating, and it was vague and stuff. And Quinlan Voss basically says it right here, how they learned and how it was confirmed. And we get all of that information that starts being revealed to us in the movies and in the EU. So in basically the continuity, the Sith evolved while the Jedi were too focused on the old ways. Correct. And let's see here. I think I once followed Whitney's holocron just to find out he is also a Kennedy film suck up. Oh, that's so sorry to hear that. All right. All right, so page 74. The masterminds of the underworld are merely puppets of the Sith. So that's the image of the picture here. It's pretty cool. I like the art on this and how it looks. The Sith Order is now a lineage. Given your skills, you should find a simple master to amass wealth, and thus, with each succession, the resource of the Sith will increase. Do not build palaces, for they will draw attention. Use your money to hire spies, scholars, assassins, trainers, guards, and thieves. All will prove useful, and the shine of credits will distract them from your true nature. Now, who did an excellent job on that? Hiding in plain sight still, but using his own resources to have his scholars, his assassin, his trainers, all of that. So we have that with Plagueis, and we have that especially with Palpatine. And we yeah, we have a lot of them in the past and stuff like that. But the ones that are most famous, I guess you could say. Most famous. So they were ordinary beings to beings in the galaxy. They may have been a scholar, they may have been a scientist, or what have you. Banker, we know that famous banker, right? And but they were basically are in politics, generally in politics, because that's where the power is at, right? So that's where they hid, because they hid within the confines of power, so that they can gain it, so they can gain control. And that's part of the revenge of the Sith, right? So we're getting into like this, all of this, like the brilliance behind this, All right, selecting an apprentice. And so on top, Sidious writes again, his annotation. Curious, I have brought the Sith to their ultimate victory. Through study, I will soon learn how to defeat death. While I may choose apprentices, I will never choose a successor. So he will choose apprentices, but never choose a successor, because he wants total rule and control, no death, immortality. And that's where, and he gets that from his master and stuff like that. And it's a Sith thing, because we have other Sith that wanted immortality too, to rule forever. Was it the time of the Rule of Two? No. So do you think that Sidious is now wanting to break away from this Rule of Two? Yes. He is. It's once we get to Plagueis and Sidious, we start seeing the deconstruction of the rule of two. When we get to Darth Caedus, he still abides by the rule of two. However, Darth Krayt creates the one Sith. And then you have the other Jedi factions like the Lost Tribe of the Sith that has no influence whatsoever of this, so they don't even know what the rule of two is. So we have all those different parallels, I guess you could say. Let me see what you guys are saying here. And or an evil politician that did their true, like Darth Sidious, correct. And a perversion of the rule of two, just like Plagueis and Tenebrous, correct. That too. So you start seeing that with Tenebrous and stuff in the later, I guess you say, history of the rule of two. They couldn't keep their shit together, basically, because of power, greed, all of that. And that's just like the true ways of the Sith, I guess you could say, because they get so power hungry. They want to rule. They want control, all of that. Very interesting bits here. And Darth Sidious did find a way to immortality in the dark. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that was the essence transfer. So and what's so interesting about that? So we're still talking about the rule of two. We're still talking about this, but when we get to have Mara Jade, when she comes into the scene of things, because she basically was raised by Sidious at a young age. She is, I think, a little older, or wait, no. I think she's like a couple years younger than Luke and Leia. Her time of birth. But she is brought in and she's raised by Sidious and stuff like that. And of course he's built his empire of his hands, Inquisitors, all of that. And so when Mara Jade comes into the scene, going back to my point, when she's questioning the clones of the Emperor, she's like, I really don't think that's really truly him. So basically we have this this doubt of Mara, who was raised by this man, in a sense, to be his assassin, like daughter, I guess you could say, if you want to call her that. And she's like, I don't think that was him. So she's seeing the essence transfer as a perversion of him. So I thought that was very interesting on how she talks about that when they talked about, Dark Empire and what happened during that time frame. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Darth Tenebrous was a famous starship designer and the engineer, correct. Basically, if Henry Ford was a Sith Lord. Nice analogy right there. Dilly Squat says, can't really follow rules if your whole way of thinking is self-centered, correct. And the bright side, I still have more EU novels to read once I finish the Plagueis novelization. Awesome. Keep reading. So much, even in so much greatness in that. But even me rereading Vector Prime and stuff like that, you discover things that you haven't really thought about, or that maybe you have missed or didn't catch the first read. And so you rediscover the book over and over again. The Rule of Two must have been very strict standards since it only had 30 members within the 1,000 years. Yes. Great point. And the only weakness of a Sith are their annoyance, as well as greedy and power-hungry nature. Well, that's just, I don't know if that would be a weakness or a strength. I don't know, but that's just the dark side. That's just their dark side abilities and what makes them dark, I guess you could say. And you could probably say it's a weakness if you go overboard and someone pushes that, and you have that tunnel vision, basically, right? Darth Tenebrous created spoiler alert, the schminks. Yeah, the schmink. Yeah. I'm gonna take a drink of water. My throat is freaking dry. So when I was in training, I was basically in northern Idaho near the Canadian border. So it was nice and really cool up here. Then I get back down into California, into the valley here, and it's still warm. So I'm like dealing with this temperature of going back and forth in different climates and stuff like that. And let's see here. Okay, let's move on. Selecting an apprentice. Okay. Again, the Sith Order is a lineage. It must not end with you. I will not allow my Sith Order to expire because you were unworthy or too protective to bequeath your power. And Sidious is like, I'm not giving up my power. He's like, fuck that shit. I'm not giving up my power. I'm going to be more immortal and I'm going to only have apprentices but no successor. But the thing with the rule of two is, basically the apprentice is the one that craves to have the power, to be the master. So the test is, and if the apprentice wins, the master is dead. But the test is, if you can beat your master, then you become the master. And then you have to find your apprentice if you don't secretly have one already. So there's that. Know this, your apprentice will kill you. If this fact frightens you, then the Sith Order has already suffered a fatal infection. Your existence in the Order is not needed. Your battle has already been lost. He's like, okay, weak-mindedness fool, you don't belong here. We don't need you. If you're afraid that your apprentice is going to kill you, then you already lost the control, right? A Sith apprentice must grow in strength and skill until he or she can surpass the master. Anything else is regression. Would you have a Sith become like the kings of Shakeen, whose dominion crumbled into ruin? And what's interesting here is when Bane found his apprentice with Zana, at first he thought she was weak. If you read the series, if you know the lore with him and his apprentice, he was at one point disappointed in her because he felt like she didn't want to surpass him, that she didn't want to kill him. But little did he know that that's what was on her mind. But she was making herself appear that way to keep him in question of her. So that was brilliant on her part. That was really brilliant on her part. Let me see what you guys are saying here. You only get one test to become the master. Ain't no do-overs. Correct. Tenebrous is one of the best names, Latin root and all of that. Arrogance, not annoyance. Damn it. Those words are similar spelled. Okay, I was like, annoying? I was like, what? That's why people who need to see more Star Wars are fake fan, that's why people who need, to see more Star Wars are fake fans. There is more than enough EU to visit and revisit for a lifetime, even if you skim out the surface. That doesn't hit for you. Let me see here and what's going on. Okay, right here. Seems to me that Sith Order is the definition of ownership and having them stick by you as you cannot leave. All right. Okay, so R, do you believe you will live forever? You're not wrong to covet that secret, for I have sought to prolong my own life. But in the extreme, this leads to narcissism and the lack of focus on the rule of two. Okay, so that makes me think of Sidious. To be a Sith Lord is to outthink your enemies and to plan for any eventuality. A proper apprentice will ensure that the Sith endure, no matter what fate may come upon your head. Many Force-sensitive beings exist among the stars. Seek out those who have not yet been discovered are subjected to Jedi corruption. I love that. You will find it easier to mold the young, for their bodies and minds are still in flux. You may wish to train several candidates at once. Their rivalries will force their essential natures to the surface, making it unlikely they will join forces against you. And Luke Skywalker has an annotation here, and I think that's where he's underlining. You will find it easier to mold the young. This is the reason why the Jedi encourage training from childhood. As their powers grow, those who can use the Force must learn how they can help others, not merely themselves. And that's from Luke Skywalker. So a little thing about why, the Jedi took them at a young age too. So here we go. Tell them only one will survive to become your apprentice. Let them defeat one another in combat. Betray one another in their sleep. or play with one suspicion intentions. Wow. That's crazy. Scariest things thought to me. If after Vader throws Sidious into the power core, Luke turns and they rule as Sith father and son. Oh yeah, I think George was kind of playing with that at one point. All right. All are admirable skills for future Sith Lord. Then watch as they destroy one another. I did not have that luxury of employing this method when selecting my own apprentice. But if she should prove reluctant to take my place, I will train a second apprentice to replace her. The talent and the ambitious will receive their reward. The rest will taste only ashes. And again, at first he thought Donna wasn't worthy and stuff like that. And then she proved him wrong. So that was very interesting right there. And let me see her. But before that happened, Anakin died. Yeah. Yeah, he had that ending right there in Revenge or Return of the Jedi, where Luke's taking off his mask and they're talking. That always, no matter what, hits the heart. Hits the heartstrings. Soul Assassin says, ancient Sith orders had academies to train acolytes until a master decides to take one as an apprentice. Ruler 2 was more hands-on with the training and superior in some ways. Yeah, it's very, very interesting here. So Revenge of the Sith. All right. And we all know what that is. And there's a whole episode 3 of this. And so we're going to go there. We're going to go there. Lucky for the galaxy, Luke started a new Jedi Order and not a new Sith Order. Just imagine that. Just imagine if the son of Anakin turned dark side and made a new type of order for the Sith. But that wasn't in the cards. So we're going into what if areas, and that would be something crazy. But Crate, on the other hand, yes, the one Sith. All right, so Revenge of the Sith. So Quinlan Voss has an annotation. I'll read his first, and I'll go to Sidious in a little bit. Obi-Wan killed one Sith on Naboo. I think we could end it all by wiring out Dooku 2. I think that's what it says. I can't read his handwriting. Excuse me. Is it weaning out or wiring out? Wiring. I think that's what it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So a little bit from Quinlan Voss talking about how they Obi-Wan killed basically Darth Maul. That was, of course, we're talking about the Phantom Menace, and that was basically the reveal of the Sith not being extinct. Under the rule of 2, the Sith will concentrate power in one master and one apprentice, so that one day we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. Eventually, we will have revenge. Galactic civilization is an empty term when that civilization lacks leadership. Given a clear vision and that the means to enact it, a Sith regime could build great wonders in defiance of the natural laws of silence, stillness, and ruin. Khan was a fool, but he was right in one thing. The laws of the current republic only abet those chaotic forces, and only the Sith way leads to mastery over entropy. So imagine that. Thinking, the Sith is the way that we must rule and put order and control over these people because they can't be trusted on their own volition. That's basically what he's saying. Let's see here what you guys are saying. Fun fact, the name Luke means light giving. Yeah. And Sidious says right here, this Jedi didn't survive. Master Windu and Yoda divided the truth, but could not stand against me. The long delayed revenge of Darth Bane became my personal triumph. There you go. Personal triumph. He's the benefactor of all of this, the revenge of the Sith. And so he basically, and how long did he rule? Basically for 19 years. Yeah, 19 years. So just about two centuries. Just about 2 centuries. Gotta Khan some credit. The man was able to fool the Sith into believing they were all equal but served him. Yes, but that's it. Bane was right to destroy him. That's correct. The Tenebrous means darkness. Yeah. Okay. The Jedi path teaches harmony and peace, but if we all aspire to was harmony, then intelligent beings would still be scratching for food from rotted tree stumps. The dark side of the Force is both an enabler and a guide. To advance the cause of the Sith, you must fight those who would hold back progress. You and those who succeed you are building an arsenal of dark side potency. One day it will contain the power to destroy the Jedi and bring purpose to the Force. Remember the code of the Sith. There is no peace, only passion. In creating new regime, the Sith will defeat the complacency of the Jedi, and what we create will be glorious. And I should put this with the rest of them, this personal combat. So this right here, personal combat, we're going to end here. That's where we're going to leave off next with all of this. Going into the personal combat, lightsaber construction, variants, and lightsaber combat. The use of saber staff. And we're going to get all into this fun stuff, Sith armor, next week. Dark side combat. We're all going to get into that. So this is going to be heavy read with all this right here, what they use, their weapons and stuff like that. Before we get into, we're going to skip the Wild Power by Mother Talzin because there is no reason for her fucking shit to be in here. So we're not going to get into this because she is not a Sith Lord, and nor are those of Dathomir Sith at all. So that whole section is going to be skipped. So like again, that I don't know why maybe they needed to appease the Filoni of the company or something, but we're gonna skip the Talzin shit because she is not a Sith, nor this is not a book about any type of dark side. So it can't even, if they did, then where are all the other dark side societies that are out there that you can read in Jedi versus Sith? So this right here, and that's useless shit in there to have her and her cronies in there. So let's see what you guys have to say. It says, in a way, Star Wars is synonymous with Luke just as he created him to be. Yeah. Let's see here. I fist myself. Well, hello, how are you doing? George has Lucas as his last name for a reason too. Yeah. Let's see here. I like how you guys are going off on Luke's name. I love Luke's name because it's basically my name too. Ha ha ha. Hello. Homework for the chat for next week's topic on combat. What would your lightsaber and fighting style be? Answer next CAF chat. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this here for a few seconds, or a minute. And yes, homework. Thank you so much. You are learning well, my apprentice. I am so glad. I'm so happy to see and proud to see that you are giving out homework. Usually I'm the one that gives out homework and stuff. You are learning, my apprentice. No. So homework for the chat. And I will basically, probably present this in my group chat here on YouTube and on Twitter. And I want you guys to answer next week. So yeah. So dun dun dun. Here you go. And let's see here. I wish they make a version without any mention of Mother Talzin. I agree. I agree. Luke is not, totally not. It's self-insert. You guys are funny. All right. So that's the homework here. Type of saber and fighting style. So what would your lightsaber look like, be, what have you? You can research online, like various characters, like even Tennille Joe. She has the what do you call it? The Rancor tooth, basically, or claw or tooth lightsaber. So she has that. So there's many different ways lightsabers are made. If they can hold the power cord, the power system and stuff within. So let's see here. Good end cap for the Bane Sidious combo. Bane Saber Form 7. He's like, I have my shit already. Let's see here. No, we're not even go that. We're not even going to that conversation, Conrado. There we go. He's like, I have it right here. So you're the student, like you're like that student, like that that excelled. Oh, sorry. I didn't have a time change at all. I was still in Pacific Standard Time, but my body, it's like I'm still adapting to this back home. It's weird. All right. Okay, and Melissa Lord. Form 7, red saber, because I would be Sith dark side. Yeah. All right. Pretty cool. So we'll begin on personal combat, get into lightsaber and stuff like that. And one fun fact is, even though like as Force users in general, they started out with standard traditional type blades and swords and stuff like that. But as they started incorporated the lightsaber blades, the crystals and stuff like that with the plasma blades and stuff like that, they were connected on a cord to a power pack on their side there. The Sith is the one that invented the cordless lightsaber, just to give you guys an idea of where that came from. So it's very interesting how that came about. Let's see what you guys are saying. You keep ignoring the legovers. Sorry, Conrado. Anyway, does the Jedi Path book ever have title drop Return of the Jedi? The Jedi Path book ever have the title? You know what? I have to take a look. It's over on my bookshelf over there. I have not opened it yet, for a while. I've been mostly looking up Sith stuff lately. Maybe Mike, I'm not really a Sith, not a Jedi or anything like that. But I do have it. And I do have to open it. Now I'm gonna probably when we're done here, I'll probably go grab it. The world between worlds, just say I don't even I hate that. I was the kid that blurted out shit in class and got an A and used. There you go. You're like the extra, like, hey, I'm right here. I got the answer right here. And everybody's like, what? Yeah, that's okay. Overachiever, that's okay, because I do that too. The Proto Saber, okay. All right. So we are going to segue now into the book of the week. So for anybody who needs to potty break, now I'm sounding like a damn teacher. Anybody needs a potty break now, here's your chance. But whatever you need to do here, refresh your drink, what have you, feel free to do that as we move on to the next subject here, coming into our book of the week. And if you follow me on Twitter, you might get an idea of what book I'm going to recommend, at least an idea of like, oh, it might be this or that if it's a series or whatever. So go ahead and find your refreshments and stuff. I am going to do a Vector Prime. Where is it at? Here we go.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the Force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
That's great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
story
you're searching for doesn't exist.
Impossible. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
If an item does not appear in our records, it does not exist.
It does not exist. First of all, thank you, Fangirls Over 40, for becoming a YouTube member. I appreciate you so much. And those who wish to become a member, I highly, recommend it. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's always they wonder like, oh, you're supporting the channel and stuff, and thank you. So it humbles me for what I have to offer, and you putting your time and money into the channel as well. So thank you so much. So with that being said, if you follow me on Twitter, I was sharing a lot about the clones and even some bits about Mandalorian culture. And the book of the week, I usually tell you before I review, I usually read the back before I bring it up to have you guys guess. But the book of the week is Order 66. Even as the Clone Wars are about to reach an explosive climax, no one knows whether victory will favor the Grand Army of the Republic or the GAR or the Separatists. But no matter who wins, the stakes are highest for the elite special ops clones like the Republic Commandos and Omega and Delta squads, and the notorious renegade advanced recon commander troopers known as the Null Arts. And now, even the deadliest weapon may not be powerful enough to defeat the real menace. The apocalyptic horror to be unleashed when Palpatine utters the chilling words, "The time has come. Execute Order 66." Translation: the Jedi have tried to stage a coup, and all must be shot on sight. With their faith in the Republic and their loyalty to their Jedi allies put to the ultimate test, how will the men of Omega and Delta squads react to the most infamous command in the galactic history? And there you go. So this right here, this is basically part of a series still, the Republic Commando series, basically. When I pick, sometimes it's not going to be an order of if they're in a series. I want to give random information about random novels, and I will say this belongs to the series and stuff. If you have not read it, start from the beginning. But to entice people to reread or read. Read it for the dry clone humor. I agree. There's so much fun in there. Whoops, wrong one. Yep. And so, of course, the author is Karen Travis. Cover artist is Greg Knight. The publication, the hardcover, came out September 20, 2008. Paperback came out in May of 2009. And the timeline basically is 9 BBY. We know that. We know exactly when. Well, I would suggest you guys are all Star Wars fans. You knew the timeline of when Order 66 began, right? But for some people, they may not. So again, timeline 19 BBY. BBY, Battle Before Yavin. ABY, after the Battle of Yavin. And the continuity notes. So continuity notes is not going to all be all the sweet and cherry things of like, oh, it's all connected and George was involved and this and that. Continuity notes are basically going to give things that even may show a little bit contradictory stuff. So I wanted to get into that, and then we'll get into our cringe factor. Okay. The attack on Coruscant here spans several days, while in Labyrinth of Evil it occurs in a course of a single day. The Delta Squad mission to Kashyyyk, and specifically the abandonment of Sev during the extraction, is taken specifically from the 2004 Republic Commando video game. To date, Sev's fate has yet to be resolved. The dramatis persona has both Eaton and Zentis as human males, which they are human females. So that was interesting as well. So, Sev there was never a conclusion for Sev, basically, pertaining to this. We have Labyrinth of Evil that both offset Clone Wars 03 and even this right here. So we have this a little bit continuity errors. Doesn't mean it's not canon. No, it doesn't. It just means that the time frame between those events were seen differently, if you get into the game and then you get into the novel here, you will have like the clones traveling from Outer Rim back to Coruscant for nightfall. So there's that time frame in Star Wars in general, the true Star Wars. It took time to travel across the universe. It could take a few days to a week. So they were secretly sent over to Coruscant for nightfall. 501st was sent over for nightfall with Anakin on the temple. And so we have all this. So we have these variants of time frames, battles. If I guess if you ever listen to a veteran and stuff like that, sometimes battles can feel like they're taking forever, right? And combat basically, and all that. So so we have a variance, and that's okay. It doesn't necessarily break canon. It doesn't mean it's not canon. And then I agree, and I love the null arcs better than Delta Squad. That's just me. Disney canon is below end canon to us. Even Skippy the Droid is above that. I like your train of thought there. To be fair, Sev is kind of scary. Sev, yes, he is. Oh my God, just listening to some of his humor and going over some of his information and reading about him. Yeah. If it hasn't already been done, there should be a Route 66 parody for Order 66. Get your thrills. Oh, I love that. All right. So this is the book of the week. And again, Order 66. You can read this on its own, or you can read it in order. I highly recommend this. It's a great read. Very much fun. I could tell I was reading this, and I have a note card in here from last time I read this. Interesting. I find crazy stuff in my books all the time as bookmarkers and stuff like that. And let's see what you guys are saying. I have different takes on battles from different characters that were where there makes the galaxy much bigger. Yeah, more bigger. I agree. Alpha Squad is legit, and I believe this is Jango Fett's top trainees. So, yeah, Alpha basically, but Knolls are the most closest to Jango, and they're like I said, I favor them more, but I see your point here too. They're all great, but I favor the Knolls, maybe because they are less manipulated in genetic form and stuff like that. And maybe I just like their story arc with Cal Scarada and all that. But, you know, that's just me. That's just me. Bad Batch makes Scorch into mindless clone. Yeah. So I don't know much about Bad Batch other than what I've seen on review and what I've researched for some information I needed to look up. So there you go. So Republic Commando novel, Order 66 by Karen Travis. I highly recommend. She is basically a New York Times bestselling author, so check it out. This should have been already posted on my Twitter, because you can schedule posts on Twitter, so this should all be on my Twitter now. So if you want to save it, if you want to share it, what have you, go ahead. I will put this on the YouTube community page after I'm done here. All right, now time to move on to what you guys all have been waiting for. And that is for Cringe Factor. And I have two articles. I'm going to do one first, and if we have time, then I'll go into the next one. So again, here's your chance for a little break. Maybe get up, jumping down, jumping jacks or whatever. We are going to get into Cringe Factor here pretty quick.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With a new LEGO Star Wars Slave One, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
So uncivilized.
There we go. So this right here is it's Screen Rant. They are basically my number one contributors to cringe factor. And so let's get into this right now. Let me get out of this window real quick. That's not what I want. There we go. So Star Wars turns Obi-Wan's most famous lesson to Anakin into a lie. And this is by Liz DeClan. And she's been a contributor for a while now, her and Mr. Bacon. And so what do you think that is? And thanks to Soul Assassin for recommending this article here as I was returning home from my trip and stuff. So thank you for your help. I wasn't waiting for cringe factor at all. Of course, it's Screen Rat. You're like, no, I wasn't waiting for this shit. From Tatooine to Alderaan, the Falcon traveled for 200 hours, and TCW, Ahsoka, and Amidala traveled a similar distance back and forth, double the distance. Plus, they stayed for some days in less time. Yeah, it's crazy. So let's get into this article here. Okay, here it is. Oh, I thought I clicked out of you. Get out of my way. So basically, what do you think this means? Like, what was the famous lesson to Anakin that Obi-Wan gave that basically is turned into a lie? So basically, they're telling on themselves. Star Wars turns Obi-Wan's most. So this is Disney's Star Wars, not George Lucas. Disney Star Wars turns Obi-Wan's most famous lesson to Anakin into a lie. You see how they destroy all these little arcs even within the movies? See what they're doing here? So basically, one new Star Wars story revealed that Obi-Wan Kenobi's most well-known lesson for Anakin Skywalker wasn't quite true. Obi-Wan's most memorable quotes are some of the most iconic in the franchise, though several of them reveal he wasn't afraid of skirting the line between truth and lie. This began in the original Star Wars trilogy with his assertion that he told the truth from a certain point of view regarding the fate of Luke's father. All right, so they're doubling down on Obi-Wan continuing to be a liar. Like he's this habitual liar from day one with Anakin. And so everything he says is not to be trusted. Do you see where they're going along with this? Now, from the certain point of view, when he was talking to Luke about his father, he even Yoda reiterated that during the time when we're talking to you about, Vader and who he could be and stuff like that, that he wasn't strong enough or ready for the full truth yet because he wasn't further along in his training. So yes, it was a partial lie, but it was also in consideration of who he was at the point in time and where he was in the point in time of his training. Was he ready? Not really. So they did talk about, in truth, about who Vader was, but there was more to be revealed in a sense. So Disney is doubling down on Obi-Wan being a habitual liar. How does that make you guys feel? How does that make you feel on this further destruction of George Lucas character? Let me see what you guys are saying. Obi-Wan didn't have the high ground after all. Even the sisters designated number sounds like the hentai digit numbers. I don't know what that's about. All right. So how does that make you feel about that? Like they're doubling down on Obi-Wan being a liar, a habitual liar. This continued in other Star Wars movies and TV shows, particularly the prequels, which included the confession of the only Sith deals in absolute. So he's lying here too. One of his most famous prequel lines came from Star Wars Attack of the Clones when he told Anakin, "This weapon is your life," which that's the truth. Which that is the truth. This is not a certain point of view. It is basically, I hate when it highlights everything and it doesn't want me to undo. Well, anyways, there we go. This weapon is your life. So when you heard that, in Attack of the Clones after the chase, and he gives Anakin back his lightsaber in the Cantina Club. What did you think about that? You know, he's not lying here. So keep that thought. What did you think? All of that, because we're going to get more into this. As they reboot for Anakin's constantly losing his lightsaber. Despite the reframe, a brand new Star Wars book suggests Obi-Wan's lesson to Anakin must have overstated the insignificance of a lightsaber. So, as of Disney Star Wars new book, they're doubling down on Obi-Wan being a liar. All right. Told you this is cringe. Told you this is cringe. Thanks, Soul Assassin, for finding this for me. Obi-Wan's assertion that Anakin's lightsaber was his life suggested that this one weapon was intended to be sacred. The saber is sacred in a sense that that is an extension of themselves, of the Jedi. So think of I'm going to pause here and finish reading this. But that evidently wasn't true. Quite the case. Many Jedi, including Master Yoda himself, kept several lightsabers. While Jedi like Ahsoka Tano had dual lightsabers, this was something different. Certain Jedi kept multiple lightsabers at once, but used them interchangeably. So having one or two or more sabers, like maybe a training saber in your arsenal, what have you, doesn't mean that the purpose of the saber is insignificant. Miss Declan. Doesn't mean that whatsoever. So certain Jedi kept multiple lightsabers at once, but used them interchangeably. This was reinforced in the brand new Disney Star Wars book, Mace Windu, The Glass Abyss, written by Stephen Barnes. And this is what it states. Here, Mace stored past lightsaber hilts. From his first half-scale weapon he had built in childhood to several models he had shaped over the years. Utilizing the kyber crystal of Ilum that had called to him, his personal design had evolved as was tradition. Again, nothing here states that the saber was not significant. In a sense, it shared that the saber is significant to the Jedi. So I don't know what Declan is trying to get here, but let's read on. This revelation indicates a pretty major discrepancy between Obi-Wan's lesson about Anakin's lightsaber and the actual practice of keeping and changing lightsabers among the Jedi. What? No, it does not. Just because a Jedi might have like a couple sabers on them, has perfected the style of the hilts for their lightsaber, has to create a new lightsaber because it's lost or destroyed in combat, doesn't mean that it's less significant to the Jedi. What is particularly notable about this passage is that since that Mace Windu's collection of lightsaber was not an anomaly. On the contrary, it was a tradition for the Jedi to adapt, replace, and upgrade their lightsabers over time, which means it is significant because, again, they need their saber. It's an extension of themselves that needs to, the hilt, the design basically needs to feel comfortable in the hand and efficient, right? This makes sense, particularly in the light of the lights. The light of the lightsaber needs to change its scale as a Jedi grows, which the Glass Abyss makes clear. But given Mace had an entire case of lightsabers, this eventually extends far beyond simply a sizing issue. This kind of tells me that like Disney Star Wars doesn't know the significance to the lightsaber if this idiot, this dolt here, comes to this conclusion. Because the Jedi has different hilts or maybe pieces to a hilt to make their lightsaber more efficient, doesn't mean it's less sacred. Something that's sacred will be kept, maintained, maybe added onto, all of that. So I don't think this person even knows what sacred, like having anything sacred or anything significant to the being means. I don't think she holds anything significance in her life. This makes Obi-Wan assertion all the more perplexing. It's undoubtedly true that lightsabers are important, and kyber crystals, which are inside each lightsaber, you're such a fucking dolt, from a bond with the Jedi. It's therefore would be a great shame to lose one's lightsaber, as they really were more than just weapons. Shit happens. But when you lose a lightsaber in combat or what have you, shit happens. But you make another one. Maybe the hilt is exactly the same. Maybe it's not. But doesn't mean lightsaber is less significant. Nevertheless, the notion that Anakin's lightsaber was life seems a bit overstated. This raises questions about whether Obi-Wan's lesson was yet another example of his times as hyperbolic language, or if there was something more to the statement. Realistically, why are you putting realistically and particularly together? Oh, anyways, realistically and particularly in light of their dynamic, that does not sound right. Either use either or. Their dynamic, sorry, I'm just like losing my thought on this sentence here. Their dynamic throughout Attack of the Clone, it's possible that Obi-Wan really was exaggerating because he was frustrated with Anakin's recklessness and concerned that he had a general lack of regard for the Jedi way. Not necessarily. In a sense, Anakin, there's much more to it than Anakin, but just because Obi-Wan is frustrated with him for whatever reason, because Obi-Wan was always frustrated with Anakin some way, shape, or form, that's just the relationship, doesn't mean that the saber was insignificant. There were, of course, much more pressing issues when it came to Anakin going his way, his own way, rather than adhering to the Jedi code, such as his marriage to Padme. But it wouldn't be out of character for Obi-Wan to chastise Anakin in a way that put it on a bit thick, especially in that period. So what do you guys think? Oh, where did it go? There it is. I'm going to see what you guys are saying. Kyber crystal, lightsaber crystals, and the kyber crystal. Check. Let's see here. Sith happens. Disney writers are uncivilized. Can I have a quick recap? I got called just as soon as you started reading. Remember Mace Windu's lightsaber prior to his purple saber? I know. To me, that quote from a certain point of view was the main quote for the of the franchise, who makes everything EU and movies work so well together. Movie for movie, EU for EU, and movie for EU. Let's see here. Lizzie Clan should go home and rethink her life. Oh my God. I feel bad for actual trans people because they don't realize the cult leaders think of them as disposable clones in real life. Oh God, that right there. There's going to be a video coming out on that, sister, here pertaining to Star Wars theory. That's all I gotta say. Obi-Wan should always be a generic standard for Jedi Knight Master. Anything to make Lucas writing look bad. Correct. I agree. Let me see. We both Anakin and Kenobi's lightsabers were both customized to be easily maintained and repaired since they were at war. Correct. So basically, I think this dolt here, Miss DeClan, is thinking too hard about this, and basically sharing how Disney thinks about Obi-Wan Kenobi in general. It is conceivable that there would have been multiple lines of thoughts and unique traditions when it comes to lightsabers. Not really. Why would there be multiple lines of thought and unique traditions when it came to lightsabers? That would be like that would share how unorganized the training would be under Yoda. Why? Because he's the one that trains the younglings first when it comes to lightsabers. So if you watched the Phantom or the Attack of the Clones, you know, when Obi-Wan goes and talks to him about the dart and the planet Camino, he's training the younglings, right? So that would mean that there would be no organization. This theory of yours is applied. Okay. Now it wants to freeze up on me. It's like, okay, enough, Laura. It's always these damn articles that I bring up and stuff. Okay, where am I at? Oh my God. Oh my God, look at this. It's like, no, you can't read anymore. It's like literally jumping and freezing on me. Let me see here. There we go. Much more interesting possibilities that Obi-Wan may have been operating from the perspective of a completely different Jedi practice. What? What did I fucking just read here? Obi-Wan may have been operating from the perspective of a completely different Jedi practice. This person is out of their mind. Even in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, Yoda discusses how they have been training the Jedi the same way for 1,000 years. For the same Sith that they had encountered 1,000 years ago. How the hell are she getting this? Oh, I get it. The High Republic, right? Because the High Republic is like, each Jedi has their own way of looking and hearing and seeing the Force and all this other shit. Oh my fucking God. It's conceivable that there would have been multiple lines of thoughts and unique traditions when it came to lightsabers. Not really. They're all the same, which would be in keeping with the Jedi having different lightsaber forms and even distinct ways of approaching the dynamic with their Padawan learners. The difference between Anakin Skywalker's relationship with Ahsoka Tano and Luminara Undali's relationship with Barriss Offee in Star Wars Clone Wars makes it clear, though. What? Oh my God. Perhaps Mace Windu was more of the mindset of keeping multiple lightsaber was acceptable based on need, preference, and various changes over time, whereas Obi-Wan held a tradition that I cannot read on anymore. Okay, you guys. So she's coming to this conclusion that there's that the Jedi Order is so unorganized that Yoda trains one way, this other one trains the other. There's no organization in the order, and that because of that, Obi-Wan is wrong or a liar or what have you, or doesn't meet Anakin's standards. Because, you know, everybody has to have their own way to fit in and make it look like they are doing something, right? Yeah. And it's all conclusion from that new Mace Windu book that's coming out. Say what? And you are just loving this. You're like, ha, 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 ha. There you go. Yeah. And let's see here. Since Obi-Wan already died, they have to humiliate him in some way. Yeah. Disney is portraying Rey as a sacred cow. I don't even know. I'm not even bringing her up. But since Obi-Wan already... Oh, I read that one. Oh, I hate when this jumps. Let's see here. Okay. The lightsaber is the Jedi's life. It's great for defense, offense, and versatile tool. Replacing or upgrading it does not make it less important. Correct. Oh my God. I'm done with that article. I figure lightsabers are important to Jedi as a battle weapon to an infantryman. They are very important and stuff like that. So important that Sidious and Sith of his time used it, even though the weapon is of Sith too. They use it to mock the Jedi. That's how important they are to them, to the Jedi. What the Force Screen Rat is always cringe factor. They need a good mass spacing, right? They need a spacing, like Screen Rat needs a spacing as a whole company, right? Apparently different personalities means different Jedi schools and philosophies. Correct. And there was only one. And like I said, the Sith novelization basically was like, we're training the Jedi the same way for 1,000 years, expecting the same Sith from 1,000 years ago to show up, basically. And even though they thought they were extinct, he had that revelation going on. I highly recommend that novel as well. Yeah. So with that being said, there's this one here. And let me see. Let me take a look at this other article. Which one is it? So basically, they're making Obi-Wan kind of still a habitual liar in a sense, and that he is wrong. You know, they're bastardizing his character even more. And if this person, writer Declan of Screen Rant, can come to this conclusion, just imagine what other people are thinking regarding that novel. Let me see here. Let me see here. I am done with Screen Rant. Like, okay, Star Wars fixes 24-year-old continuity problem with an update one never expected. Uh-oh. That one I did not read through. I will share this on, we're not going to go through this. But it's very interesting. The Star Wars Legends continuity never offended, offered and explained. Okay, so this is what this is. I'm not bringing it up here, but I'm going to read it to you guys. So it's not up on screen. So original Star Wars content never offered an explanation for the abrupt changes to so many Jedi lightsabers in the decade between the Phantom Menace and the Attack of the Clones. So basically what they're saying is that Star Wars before never explained why there were so many color variants of Jedi or lightsabers. And how, like, in the trilogy, there was only what 3 color variances? 4. So you have the red for the Sith, blue for or purple for Mace, and then blue and green. And then, like, with some changes in the lore between the movies and the EUs, like Mace having blue and all of a sudden has purple. They're saying that none of that was ever explained. And so now this game that's going to be introduced is explaining that. So again, we did it first kind of mentality. They always do that. We did it first kind of mentality. It never was explained before. We did it first here. However, when you get into the EU, learn how Mace got a purple lightsaber and how you learn how some of the other Jedis got a different variant color of a blade as well. It's all there. And then Anakin or Soul Assassin says, they didn't really need to explain the changes. Could be a number of reasons, from maintenance to changes to the blades to the Jedi wanting a new color, correct? Or like maybe losing the crystal and getting another color, because that's just what happens, right? So that's what they're saying. So I'm not bringing up the article, but that's another article here. Like, and they're having a game fixing something that they felt that needs to be fixed. When in reality, a game is S-canon. Like, how you play is not exactly, and how you experience it is not exactly what is canon. And games are below even the movies to, if anything's gonna fix or retcon a movie, it'd be by permission of George Lucas, really. And it would be the EU. Just saying. Because just like with Anakin's scar, people are like, how did Anakin get his scar? It was never revealed. And he's like, oh, it'll be revealed in the EU. I'm paraphrasing here, because he was joking around about it and say, oh, the EU is going to explain it. Maybe Anakin falls in the tub, so he's joking around, but basically saying that the EU is the tool to give further explanation to things that really doesn't need to be told in the movie, right? And that goes with the colors of lightsabers, but it was told, so again, they're acting like it was never done and we're doing it first. That kind of mentality. So there you go. There you go. And then why they never explained why characters change clothes and hairstyles. Come on, Lucas, get your shit together, right? Oh my God. I think Padme, and the one that has a lot of costume or clothing changes in any of the movies is Padme. Now the EU have, the characters dressing out in different things and stuff like that, and that's fine. But Padme in the movie wise is the one that you see dressed differently most of the time. And same with Sidious or Palpatine in a sense. So there you go, you guys. Another like, we did it here first because it never was done before. We bought the property kind of bullshit. So Soul Assassin says, remember when the EU was there for fans to learn more about the lore instead of confusing the hell out of fans like Disney lore? Yes. Yes. Such beautiful times. And so we're going to start the showdown now. So Book of the Week, Order 66. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Put it on your shelf if you don't have it. Reread it if you've read it before. Fun stuff. Get into the clone mentalities and what's going on during that time. And of course, Lucas facts about Vector Prime and his involvement with Vector Prime, and a little bit about his involvement with the whole entire series as well. So that will be published here on YouTube community pages. It's on my Twitter already. Next week, we will continue on with the Sith lore and going into lightsaber construction and all of that. So look forward to that homework, that Soul Assassin, the type of lightsaber and the type of form that you would use. I would love to hear about that from you next week as well. And what else is going on? I don't know if I'm going to be on the Spacing Friday or not. It's a hit and miss because I only know when it actually happens. So I'm not on Wednesday nights when they have their show there. So if you guys have noticed, I am in the chat most of the time, supporting and what have you. So that's just how Tim is reconstructing his channel. And so hopefully I'll see you there, whether I'm in the chat or not. The Spacing, it starts at 8:05 Pacific Standard Time Friday night. So I'm back to my regular schedule. And stay tuned for Vector Prime reread review. And I think that's it. And next week, CAF chat. Oh, and then the clone sister, and character sexuality video is going to come up here pretty soon, pertaining to Star Wars theory and his hypocrisy. So stay tuned for that as well. So in the meantime, you guys have a great day. I enjoyed having my time with you guys here in CAF chat. With all my fun scripts and everything, making you guys laugh, having a good time, discussing Star Wars stuff, and even Cringe Factor, Lucas Facts, Book of the Week. Such a good time with you guys. You guys are amazing. As always, hit the like button. If you're coming on, thank you for listening through on your replay. And I shall talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend, or not, it's not even weekend. Well, yeah, it's coming up. Have a good week. And may the Force be with you.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
And I've always leaned towards if we're going to create something, we should check and see if it existed already to the fans. Because it has way more value if we bring that in. And It's like, why would I just replace it with something new? So if we're going to do an admiral, if we're going to do a big military leader, yeah, I could create a new guy, sure. But what about Thrawn? Thrawn is great. Thrawn is a character we all know. Thrawn has a lot of credibility. So then you ask yourself, is it right to use him? And can we use him in a way that's similar to the books? Or are we using him and it's going to go completely into left field? And there have been times when we wanted to use things from the EU, and I was like, yeah, but we can't use it that way, so why? I don't want to use it and change it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to use it and make it something completely different. That's rude.
Another happy landing.